Yo, what's going on, guys? And today I wanted to talk about Mark Williams. It's actually funny that this report came out today. Shout out Marc Stein of the Stein line. Link should be in the description. And basically, the thought here, yes, is that when you look at this team and you think about it, they should be competing for a playoff spot next year, as they finally have full control of their draft picks again, and they can basically go ahead and do what needs to be done in terms of winning. As one could argue, the last few seasons, they didn't control their draft picks, as that means they weren't incentivized to win. Now, I think with LaMelo on the books, supposedly Brandon Miller is a very serious cat. They're going to go in, and I think they're going to give this core of Miller Melo a run for the next couple years to see what it is. And I think they need a center who's got to be available. So the report, albeit surprising, because they made this big show when he came back and got traded, saying that we never would have traded him. So the report basically goes like this, and I think that this is what I find the most interesting. So Mark Williams was traded to Lakers, then rescinded, and Rivals executives, according to Marc Stein, expect Mark Williams' trade market to be re-explored this summer. The Hornets have tried to shut down similar speculation about LaMelo Ball, but the reality remains that Williams, Ball, and Brandon Miller have appeared in the same game just 18 times over the past 2 seasons, which is crazy. And Mark's a guy that his whole body is kind of messed up. I'm not saying that it's not possible for him to have a long career and this just to be a footnote. But through 3 seasons, he's only played 97 out of a possible, I think it's like 226 games you could play in your first 3 seasons, so not even half. This year, he is averaging 15.5 points and 10 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and like a block and a steal game, shooting like 59% from the field. This is what I talked to a buddy the other day. I said they need to put veterans on this team. So I heard CJ McCollum allegedly has a handshake agreement that he's going to join the Pelicans front office when he retires. So that one's off the table. And allegedly, Zion Williamson's in Portland. If he does get traded, that's the most likely situation. That's what somebody told me with knowledge of the situation. Like, I guess speculation or like just talk to people. You guys know who he is. Either way, the one that he told me the most interesting about all of this was the Hornets, that they're deciding the direction. And to me, that means if they're going to bring in veterans, I think packaging Mark Williams with Miles Bridges could give you, I'm not going to say is an enticing offer. The more that time passes, I think Miles Bridges just ends up in Detroit, going home. But Mark, he'd be the type of guy that if you would, and I know somebody would be like, why would you want Brook Lopez? If this team's serious about winning, I'd go get Brook Lopez. I think Brook Lopez could be a guy that could help you out. Obviously, he shouldn't be your only option there, but I think this team, they can have a consistent rim protector who can play off ball and pair well to LaMelo like Brook Lopez could. Or even a Miles Turner, another one. I know the rebounding wouldn't be great, but you'd assume, and then you have Grant Williams and everybody's going to rebound collectively. So I think that's the most interesting part about all of this, is how that's going to work. If the Hornets were going to shop Mark, again, I think him and Miles packaged together allows you to trade for a player over $30 million a year. To me, that's just good business. As I would want to create cap space where I think we need to bring in, if you believe the 1 and the 2 is going to be Brandon and LaMelo, we need to fill out this roster with defenders and get you a bona fide third option that we don't need to develop. I think Chris Middleton is another one if he gets bought out for people to watch. As they're a team in need of defense. They're a team that in need of depth, but they're not as far away as one would think. Yes, they're 17-51. They're the second worst offensive rating. However, they are the 7th worst defensive rating, 3rd in net rating. So, and the crazy part is that like their expected wins, they're par course like to what was expected for them. One of the things I think is impressive is that this is the 15th best in opponents' points per game, 3rd worst in their own points per game, 10th worst pace. So this team's actually a better defensive squad than they're giving credit for. And I think that's something that needs to be taken into account because their field goal numbers are real bad, even though they're 9th in 3-point attempts. And that's as a result that they're shooting 49% on their 2-pointers. They're just not shooting at all efficient from there. And this team is the 7th best rebounding team. They're not a good passing team, nor do they get like deflections or turn the ball over or force turnovers. So that's where you sit here and you're like, damn, there's pieces, but some of those pieces do need to move. I think Josh Green, you keep him. If you could flip somebody like a Nick Smith with a Jusuf Nurkic, it's not the end of the world if Jusuf Nurkic sticks around, who hasn't been like terrible for them. No way. No way, though. Is that this team, as good as they are, we can't sit here and be like, oh, they're this close to being a good team. Because now I think about it and I realize, who would they even trade for? I think it's going to be slim pickings in the trade market. And if your heart desires that this is going to be able to be a quick fix through a couple of adjustments in free agency or via the trade, if they're the right ones, they could be that. But a lot of times, trades are just hard to happen because it's a compromise, and usually a compromise is a thing that two people don't want to do. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this one.